my friends, and welcome to Star Wars for 100 Days, the ultimate fan countdown to the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at another chapter of Clone Wars from 2003, the hit animated series from Cartoon Network and famed animator Genndy Tartakovsky. Today's chapter sees the return of Mace Samuel L. Jackson Windu, except this time in animated form. And you know what? He still kicks a lot of ass. As the fogs of war fill the planet of Dantooine, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. A light that is glowing purple. That is the lightsaber of Mace Windu. This week's episode featured the return of everybody's favorite badass Jedi, and really, he showed off his stuff big time in this episode, where he was teaming up with the clones and fighting against a giant separatist army made up of droids, battle droids, and all types of other crazy things, including this massive seismic tank, which is this giant warship which has this massive piston, which can fire into the ground, causing an earthquake and creating a massive crater, which sends these massive waves of earth hurling towards their enemies. It's one of the most ridiculously overpowered weapons that I've seen in the entire series, but it does have a massive drawback. It is a very slow weapon. Despite that, it's incredibly devastating and manages to take out large chunks of the Republic forces in this episode. But luckily for the clone troopers, as badass as they are, they have Mace Windu on their side. And his frickin' lightsaber skills in this episode are fantastic. There are moments where it looks like he is not even trying, and he is almost bored at what he is doing. He is really having a good time taking out all of these droids. The overall setting of the episode is really cool too, because it takes place on the planet of Dantooine, which was mentioned oh so slightly by Princess Leia in the original Star Wars film, and we never really got to see what it was like. It's basically this large farming planet. And there's a lot of amazing moments in this episode and a lot of great action, and this is one of those episodes of Clone Wars which relies entirely upon its animation. There is not a single line of dialogue in this entire episode, and yet you still know exactly what's going on and you can feel all of the emotion and impact behind all of it. And there's just a lot of standout scenes. The clone troopers themselves are really awesome. In particular, this one scene where this clone knocks down a super battle droid and starts blasting its face at point-blank range. But you also have to look out for the super battle droids because they're very powerful, and if you kill them up too close, they're just going to explode in your face and cause even more greater damage. But luckily, Mace Windu is there. But it's when that big seismic tank comes in and starts wrecking things that things start to get a little ridiculous, especially when Mace Windu actually loses his lightsaber and suddenly finds himself surrounded by an entire platoon of super battle droids, ending this week's episode, which is basically just an appetizer to the next chapter, which I promise you is absolutely amazing. You get to see what Mace Windu can do without his lightsaber, and honestly, I think he's a lot more dangerous without it, and you're gonna find out why next time. What I will say is this episode right here was fantastic. I really wish that every single episode of Clone Wars could have been just like this one right here, just relying on its animation to do all of the storytelling. That's not to say that later on as the series goes on, they start to introduce more intricate stories and a lot more dialogue. That doesn't make it bad. It's just this right here is a perfect showcase for why animation is such a great medium for telling a story, because it's just, you get so sucked into all of the visuals, which are just so well done, which is a perfect mixture of traditional American animation with a little bit of influence from Japanese anime, which is, again, what makes this series so intriguing in the first place. You know, Genndy Tartakovsky, the guy who actually worked on this series, creator of Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack, he clearly is a big fan of anime, and you can actually see that in a lot of the action scenes in this episode, just the way that Mace Windu is flipping around, jumping over all of the different battle droids and using his lightsaber. You can see a lot of the influence in there, and yet it's still very unique for the show as well. So at the end of the day, this was another fantastic episode of Clone Wars, focusing on arguably one of the most popular Jedi of the entire series. The only way this episode could have been any better is if they actually had a live-action version starring Samuel L. Jackson. That's right, my friends, this is the beginning of Mace Windu. Remember, that's Windu, not Lose-Do. That's because he's the frickin' boss. Before you guys leave, I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode of Clone Wars. Do you like the character of Mace Windu? What do you think of his purple lightsaber? Do you have any favorite moments from this character from the movies or any of the expanded universe? And what do you want to see from Star Wars The Force Awakens? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching my video. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.